balloon, like altitude requirements for balloons are the same as airplanes. I think that's ridiculous. Like flying balloons low to the ground is perfectly safe. Like it's safer. In fact, it's because you have less potential energy. It's not like an airplane where you're doing 200 miles an hour. And if you hit something, no matter how high you are, you cause incredible damage. So it's better to be high up where you can steer. With a balloon, like if it fails, I want to be low to the ground so I don't hit the ground very hard. It's not like I'm going to be able to hit the ground in a different spot when I'm up really up high.
Coast in.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that should definitely change. Oh, Nathan's got something going on there.
Nathan's always got something.
He's flagging the camera. My goodness, look at that.
It's
so unsafe.
I'm so
unsafe. You should try talking to him face to face.
Oh,
I joke.
Just constantly testing everyone else's carry guns by their mouth feel.
Nice. Yeah, that one's good.
A rare vintage.
How to weird people out at the range very quickly.
Yes. Or scare the guy behind the counter at the gun shop.
Dude, why are all your muzzles so dry? Where's the saliva?
Oh my goodness, that's dark.
You're listening to the Art and More podcast with your hosts, Nathan and B.R. Nathan is a Canadian illustrator with a couple years of military experience, and B.R. is a British anarchist that moved to the States. Both are passionate shooters and community builders. Together, they run the Seaburn art page. Enjoy the show.
It's been a second since I've done one of these. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Art and War podcast, guys. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. I'm B.R. and I'm here with my co-host Nathan.
Hello.
And
God, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've recorded together. I say as I rudely interrupt you.
I know. I'm trying to be concise, but yeah, it's been since before my wedding, so been away from the mic for a minute. But
which congratulations again. I don't think I've actually had a chance to do that on there.
I know, dude. We've just been kind of running, but
yeah.
All that aside, we are joined by a very special guest that we very briefly met about a year ago, Tim Hoffman of Hoffman Tactical. So thank you for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me on. And congratulations on the nuptial.
Thank you, man. It's been a long time coming, and I've been rambling on the show about it for a long time. So good to have that done. But Hoffman Tactical. Lots of stuff to talk about. The super safety is kind of changing the landscape of the Second Amendment. I think people are really not appreciating that enough. You see, we can get into it, but the triggers are just everywhere. Every kind of variant you can possibly think of is out there now, and it's just kind of like an accepted thing.
This is a really funny thing to bring up. I was just at my local gunsmith. I was getting some work done for my father-in-law. He's not going to listen to this, so I don't really care. I'm modernizing his old Smith & Wesson M&P Sport for him for Christmas. So I was there at the gunsmith, and the sheriff walks in to pick up his super safety that he just had them install. I just thought you should hear that. He's great. He's great. Sorry, continue.
No, dude, it's just a wild landscape out there right now, and I don't think. I mean, in some ways, I think you are getting the appreciation you deserve, and then in other ways, I've seen people trying to claim appreciation for your work. So, we can get into plenty of that, but
for sure,
that made me probably madder than anything else has in the last probably 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, at some point I want to touch on that. I want to touch on hot air balloons, but firstly, I'd like to kind of get into kind of where Hoffman Tactical came from. Kind of how did you start in this space, and how did we get to kind of where we are today, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so we want to keep that relatively short because I think a lot of people have already heard that. It's the typical thing. But so back in 2019, for reasons I was trying to just start a business to have an income, and I started sewing hearing protection covers for some really bad electronic hearing protection. I didn't know anything back then. I had a little sewing machine, so that's what I was doing. And then I got into doing some 3D printing. I had a friend who did 3D printing for actually magazine followers for some pretty nice competitive magazines. Like they were Glock magazines. They were all stainless, but they were printing the followers, which was kind of funny. I think on one of the early Matter Hackers Prusa clones with nylon X.
Yeah. When was that, if you don't mind me asking?
That would have been 20, when that was actually happening was probably 2018 and 2019, that time period. So I got my first 3D printer. I got a Prusa in early 2020. Towards the end of January. And that's just because I had a friend who was doing that. And I had seen some of the little 3D printed magazine loaders, like the really cheesy garbage ones that I kind of mock nowadays. But I'd seen some of those and I figured, hey, 3D printing must be like a more serious thing because I'd always taken it as a toy. I used to read Make Magazine and all that, and it was 3D printing was a very craft type of thing rather than being very practical.
You're making Funko Pops and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's how I got started. And I was working on some early products, which never went anywhere. One of them was the Lightning Load, which is like a magazine carrier. It holds magazines on your vest, and you could press the catch with your thumb. I think there's actually like real products out there that do that. I did a lot of that. That was like my first development experience. So I did a lot of development work with that. I actually got some pretty good results. I still have some, and somebody up in Virginia has some too. I think I sold some on eBay at one point. So I was doing that. I always wanted to try to do a lower. Printed a lower. I had discussed that with my friend who does, who's working for the company who's printing the magazine followers. We discussed, printing a lower just for fun because it wasn't really a thing at that time. I think there was a couple like mil spec type profiles that were out there online, and I downloaded.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Like no, not at all. Yeah.
Sorry.
Around that time period, like around 2020, we had the original Vanguard lower, as it was called, which is what the original U-bolt Vanguard that Ivan did was based on, from my understanding. And then the one I downloaded was from a site called Yegi.
I love Yegi.
Yeah. So I just looked for AR lower designs and I downloaded one. It printed at a 45-degree angle. It was just this blocky thing, and it turns out it was like. It appeared to be AI generated, even though this is pre-AI generating STLs. It was really bad. So I ended up going, okay, I'm going to need to design my own. And I had SolidWorks and I had a little bit of design experience. So I started doing some design work in 2020 on a lower, printed one that was pretty much mil spec, and printed a couple iterations, did some YouTube videos. So I had my YouTube channel at this time, which I had started originally to promote this waterproof cover. Like my first video was a review of the hearing protection. And then I was like trying to have my cover for sale there as well, like a little built-in self-sponsor. So I was just kind of doing this as a vlog, and it was getting some attention. I was getting reasonable views compared to what I had been getting. Not very many, but a few thousand. So I continued working on this, came up with my support rib pretty early on. I have like this triangular rib on one side of the lower to support the buffer tower. With the flexible plastics. Yeah. So that's sort of the early beginning. And from there, it kind of just became my primary focus because people were interested in it. Like suddenly this thing I wasn't planning on doing is becoming interesting. So I started selling parts kits in 2021 with my little brass bushings and stuff. And then we've just kind of gone from there doing development, branching out into other areas and other lowers and stuff. But that's sort of the origin in brief.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's really cool. I remember around like 2020, like 2019, I knew people who were printing, and this is kind of around the genesis of the first printed lowers, but they were doing kind of similar with just files that they found on the internet, which primarily, I think that this is pre, all the drama and the genesis and everyone suddenly getting into it. Just mil-spec lowers, which do not actually, for people who are listening to this who aren't very familiar with 3D printing, doesn't really work. It does not work. Those are designed to be made out of aluminum. If you print just a plain mil-spec lower, it generally shatters around, in my and I think a lot of people's experience, the buffer tower. So what Tim was talking about is on the left side, he designed a fin that kind of holds. I don't know how to explain the physics of this. I'm very bad at this.
Yeah. Well, so it's basically, it's a support fin. Well, what's interesting is, so that's how I started, and I did an entire run of what I could now call, in retrospect, my first generation lowers. And I just released them as an STL file on my website. Back then, I think I had a website hosted by Weebly. Eventually,
I remember seeing that back in the day.
Yeah. And you could just download it. And then I took I was doing some other stuff at the time as well. I was working with some solvent traps. That was my early successful business. Was I was selling 3D printed solvent traps. A lot of them at gun shows, some of them online. So that's a little known piece of trivia. But we moved a lot of cleaning products back then.
That's awesome.
For dirty subsonic weapons. But
I miss the days where you could clean your weapons safely and efficiently. With tools from the gun show. Funny
enough, actually, I was at a gun show very recently, and other stories, from the gun show as well. But there was a table selling solvent press there. I guess he's been selling them since like 2023. I thought that was interesting. Like, I guess end of the Biden era, it got okay again. But,
okay.
I
think it's all in the enforcement architecture.
When I was doing it, people got like a lot less friendly or a lot less comfortable, I think is the right term. The crowd was a lot less comfortable once Biden got in. So once we got a couple months into the Biden, it just wasn't worth it anymore because people were too uncomfortable. That's really what happens. So it's very much has to do with the who's in charge and with how comfortable, regardless of what's actually happening in enforcement.
I'm in rural North Idaho, and I love gun shows. Like I'll go to all of them. A lot of it's just $1 meat sticks, and you get to people watch a little while, just like the old dudes telling you, "Hey, Sonny, I know what I got." But occasionally you'll still see them pop up here and there. It's not very common, but there was one fella, and I appreciate this. He must have been 19, 20 years old with lathe access, and he was just selling flow through undrilled cans. I'm not, he was outwardly, he's not like that. Yeah, this isn't assault and trap. We're in Idaho. Fuck you. And he had a printout of the state legislation on the table right next to it.
Oh, that's cool.
That guy was big dickin'. I haven't seen him in a couple
super
years,
cool.
Though. Yeah.
So anyway, he's buried under the prison now.
Yeah. So anyways, he got, but I hope that kid's doing really well. I thought that was really cool.
Hey, it is. Yeah.
The kids are gonna be all right.
Yeah. So solvent traps, that was kind of the thing I was working on back then, and that helped fund SolidWorks. I got a new SolidWorks license, a new design computer, and once I got that, I started doing the new lower. Like it was popular enough. I was like, let's fix these problems. So I did a full redesign, really smoothed it out. My old lowers were like basically a bunch of extrusions, like angular extrusions. It was really, really bad CAD. So I did the redesign, did my first second generation lower, and I added the hose clamp. And the hose clamp was a huge game changer in durability. It kind of holds all the layers together, and it ties in with a support rib to make the support rib a lot more effective. Basically, it connects the top and bottom of the buffer tower together with metal, which is very rigid. So it makes your whole buffer tower a lot stiffer and stronger. So I added that, and then it was just a lot of iterations. I did a 308 lower. I did a 9mm lower. And then moving forward to last year and 2023, end of 2023, I worked on it's the version 4.8 lower, but it's basically my third generation lower. I did a full redesign. It's all surfaced and it's mostly perfect. So there's not much for me to fix at this point. So I haven't really been working on lowers just because we've kind of gotten them perfected. But that's sort of the history and brief of the lowers. And I've done other stuff like the Orca, which is trying to 3D print as many AR-15 parts as possible. And we got rid of a lot of the factory parts. Obviously not the barrel or bolt, but that was a side project. The Super Safety was another project which has its own history. But that's kind of what's been going on. I
love the Orca. There's actually a couple of them up here. For the high-speed PCC guys are running them because they're really light. They're so there's a couple AR9 Orcas being run by the really, really good USPSA shooters.
That's interesting. So I never actually did a 9mm version. I have one on my computer, but the last one bolt hold open is a pain to integrate, so I haven't really done it. But I think there's community mods out there that probably.
Yeah, I don't think the ones that I saw had last round bolt hold open, but a lot of the time those guys just reload before they have to anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the Orca design and that whole project, and seeing them kind of pop up. I've seen a few of them pop up in other countries, and it makes my heart warm.
Oh, that's cool.
It does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a challenging project. Had to come up with some interesting little ways of connecting stuff together with hose clamps, of course.
Yeah.
So the Orca was a side project that just started from people saying like, well, you're only printing the lower, not the upper, right? So there's a bit of reactionism there, but it could definitely use an update at this point. I'm looking at one right now. Some of the surfacing on it is definitely questionable, but overall it's a very serviceable.
You're your own worst critic.
Yeah, it's a very serviceable platform, and I'd rather work on other things right now, so I haven't really revisited it. So
yeah.
Just taking like one step back, I do love how most 3D printing innovation comes out of spite. It's a very particular kind of character that I love. I mean, J-Stock, Yeezy, yourself. It's always spite, and I love that.
Well, I actually don't care for that element of it as much, but it does happen occasionally. So
yeah. So the Super Safety project, like you said, that had kind of its own history. How long was that kind of a thing in your mind? Like where did that come from?
Yeah, so going back to the beginning, I first became aware of the Rare Breed Force Reset trigger via, they were doing a bunch of social media stuff. People were talking about it back at the end of I got my years right here. I believe that was the end of 2021. If I'm getting that right. So I looked at their animation video where they showed how it works. I was like, oh, that's cool. I think I can just, do that. So I came up with my original like FRT, 3D printed FRT, and did a video on it, did a blog post, released the files. And that was at the beginning of 2022, early in 2022. And it was basically a 3D printed disconnector, which is the little flat plate in your AR-15 fire control group. And then it was a block that looked kind of like a drop-in auto sear that went into the back pocket of the AR-15 lower receiver. And between those two, we were able to have the hammer contact my printed disconnector, and then it would interact with a little locking bar in that looked kind of like a sear. And it was a direct clone of the original rare breed trigger. And it worked great, actually. It was quite popular. I got a bunch of views on the video, and it was just a weekend project. I think it took like 2 days. It was actually like literally a weekend. Just because it wasn't that complicated. I just spent a few hours working it all out, did a couple prototypes. I still actually have the original prints.
That's awesome.
Including the solid block that drops in that didn't have any cutouts, where I was just test fitting the little drop-in block that holds the locking bar. So it was just a fun project that I did. It didn't really go anywhere until I got a cease and desist from Rare Breed that I had to take the files down because I was violating their patent. Their 223 patent. And, so I got a patent lawyer. We actually went over it all. I ended up taking the files down, and then it blew up in the Rare Breed social media accounts. They got a whole bunch of pushback from the community, and they ended up just like signing a settlement agreement saying that I would take the files down and they wouldn't take any action or anything, and they'd hold me not liable.
I believe that is something that they have yet to learn, which is called the Streisand effect. When you push back against something.
Yeah. So ironically, if they hadn't sent that cease and desist, and to be fair, my device was at least, in looking at it, I still think it was infringing their patent. Like, that's fine. Like I did copy them. Like, I was looking at their video, I copied. It was just a fun project. I didn't even know they had a patent, to be honest, but or that they would care. But that's secondary. But after that happened, I started thinking about other ways of doing it, just basic patent workarounds. And one of the mechanisms I had was, instead of using a locking bar, I had a 4-bar, it was a 2-bar linkage that cammed against itself, so that the end result was I had fingers that would tuck underneath the safety selector, and they would sit between the safety selector and the trigger's tail, and that would prevent you from pulling the trigger. That was a way of simulating a locking bar. So for those who are not familiar, the original Rare Breed trigger functions by the hammer is pushed to the rear by the bolt carrier. The tip of the hammer hits the back end of the trigger, pushes the trigger into the reset position, and then a locking bar, which is just a sear, pops into place, holding the trigger in the reset position. So basically holding your finger forward until the bolt carrier moves forward again, unlocks that locking bar, and allows you to pull the trigger, firing the weapon again. All force reset triggers do the same thing. That's how theirs did it. So I was trying to not use the locking bar by instead having fingers which went between the safety and the trigger and got pinched in there so that you couldn't pull the trigger. And that little mechanism, I was just looking at it the other day. I still have it. And I think it actually might work. It's kind of an interesting... The idea behind it that made it interesting was that there was no other components, everything mounted to the disconnector. So like I had this big, tall disconnector, like a disconnector with a tall arm on the back with these little linkages, which were tiny and hard to 3D print. And it was just a single drop-in disconnector. And I had another system to actually cause it to reset. But it might actually be worth revisiting. But that's where I started with the super safety, because I was thinking, and for a couple weeks I worked on this, I was thinking, while I have those little fingers underneath, what if I just like replace the safety with a cam that would just rotate? And I dismissed it because I didn't think there was enough room. Basically, I didn't think there was enough sweep of the lever. You can't get enough rotation to have an effective cam. But I finally decided to actually do something and just try it. And I printed out in PLA just a quick little test sample that somehow, despite having timing, which is not very good, it actually worked. I got like 28 or 30 rounds through it, and it's pretty worn. I still have that one as well. It's kind of cool.
That's awesome. You got to make a little Hoffman museum.
Yeah, so that's the connection there. That finger mechanism, which is difficult to describe, went to the cam directly. So from there, I started developing it, working out the geometry. sort of rationalizing like why it worked and what needed to happen. There's some interesting mechanics with the super safety we could get into. And the big challenge early on was adding a safety. Like the original super safety was just the cam. There was no way of turning a safety on. It was just the super safety. And it wasn't even called the super safety. So I was trying to work out all these different things. And sadly, I actually don't have a lot of these papers anymore because I didn't scan stuff back then. I don't know what happened to them. But making a rotary switch is difficult with 3D printing. And there's actually a couple options the community and companies have designed now. So my dad actually was the one who suggested using a push button like on the 1022. That was the example we had, a cross bolt safety. So I integrated it, actually worked great. And then making the 3-position mode was obvious after that because it's just stacking cams up. And that came next. And that's where the super safety came from.
Damn. Your dad, engineer-minded dude?
Yes. Yeah, he is actually an engineer. So
nice.
Do you have an engineering background?
I don't. No, it just Hoffman Tactical pretty much.
That impresses the hell out of me. That is so freaking cool.
Just osmosis and trial and error.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's badass. All the same.
Pretty much.
So kind of since the super safety is kind of going out into the world, what have you made of its impact? Because it seemed like one day Nathan was like kind of quietly messaging me about these things, going like, "These are kind of cool. Have you seen these?" And now, I mean, they were popping up in my Arizona shooting group, but people kind of doing the same thing, like, "Have you seen these?" I'm like, "Oh, interesting. I don't know if I should be seeing that." And then next thing you know, they're like, just every other video I see of people shooting now, there's a super safety.
Yeah, I think it really shows the advantages to doing open source release of stuff like that because it makes it much more difficult to stop. So originally I was planning on selling it much sooner. Right now I'm actually planning on starting to sell a version of my own next month, which I can kind of say now. Everybody sort of knows it. But I was originally going to be selling it. I had manufacturing stuff lined up back in early 2023 I was working on, and I was concerned because of my other work doing 3D printed lowers and such. I was a big target. So I decided that it probably wasn't a good idea for me to sell it. I was going to release it anyway, in basically concurrent with a product. But so I decided just to release it openly and not sell it and just let people run with it. It was originally it's a 3D printed item. So the super safety nowadays, so funny little story. I was actually at a gun show recently and there was 3 different vendors selling super safeties.
That's amazing.
One of them like had no idea what they were. Like someone just like gave them to like a friend of his said, "Here, sell these." The other one was very supportive guy, very helpful, large seller. I say helpful, like friendly and very polite. The other one was a little bit like, I think he was afraid I was going to like ask for royalties or something. He was like frightened that I was at the table. But I actually talked to someone there at the show. It was a younger guy, and we were talking about super safeties, and basically he had no idea that like what its origin story was. I told him like I developed it. We were talking about it, and he was like questioning something I was saying. I think it was like he was debating between like 40 chromoly and like D2 tool steel. I think those are the 2 metals. And like I think there's a Facebook group even now, a large Facebook group where people like debate this stuff. And the people who are doing all of this don't realize that it started out as a 3D printed project. I think the reason we got into this is I mentioned I was talking about 3D printed guns. Like, are you familiar with these? He's like, "No, I don't do that." I'm like, you do know the super safety is 3D printed. Like I that's my project. I invented that. And he was like, "No, like I remember that being around for years. Like that's been around for years. Like, no." So the whole point of this little story, other than being a little bit aggravating, is that the super safety has expanded so large at this point that people are getting super safeties from other resellers who buy it from a manufacturer who downloaded my files. So like at this point, it's gotten into the general like gun culture, and it's way outside of the 3D printed gun culture. So far so that people are unaware of where it came from, which I mean, it shows just how good an idea can spread if it's released properly and it's a good idea.
Yeah. My local shop, and keep in mind, like these guys are fantastic. Minuteman Gunsmithing in Onaway, Idaho, like a tiny little shop in Potlatch. They started getting super safeties just made by a local machinist and selling them for pretty cheap, actually. And they have a mason jar on their counter full of all of the mil spec safeties that they pull out of other people's guns and they change them, and it's getting
that's
pretty
funny.
full.
That's
they only started doing it a couple weeks ago.
No, it's everywhere. I mean, there's a ton of companies making it, and that's really when it first started, a couple of people started making it. There was actually a raid on one of the companies, Twin Bros, who is recently resurfaced.
Yeah,
it's actually interesting. I'm not entirely sure why they did that. We can go into that as well. I do have some of the details on that, but after that, a bunch of other people kind of left another void in the market. A bunch of other people started making it, and at this point, there's hundreds of small companies making it, as well as like several big ones. So the decentralized model has really allowed it to explode to the point where you can't raid two companies and shut it down, which is the general strategy in this kind of thing. Like we saw with Rarebreed, what the ATF likes to do is they like to do a big public fancy raid, steal your inventory. Don't press any charges, mind you, but just shut you down through intimidation and stealing of resources, financial and physical assets.
When it's government.
Yeah, exactly. When it's this distributed, that can't happen. So I think that's really, that distributed nature is why the super safety is successful as it has been. And it's encouraged a lot of other innovation as well, either directly from it or indirectly as a result of the environment fostered by the super safety.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're taking a quick break to talk about staying sharp and protected in any temperature extreme with our newest supporter of the show, Qore Performance, the experts in thermoregulation gear. Qore Performance provide cooling, heating, and hydration solutions that seamlessly integrate with your kit, whether you're rocking a plate carrier, chest rig, heavy pack, or just hitting the trail for a hike or run. Their ice plate and ice flask are game changers. Wearable water bottles you fill with drinkable water, freeze overnight for cooling, or fill with warm water for heating. These are worn against your back or on your flanks and keep you cool during intense range sessions, competition shooting, or field work, protecting against heat exhaustion. Or, alternatively, keeping you warm when static in the freezing cold, guarding against hypothermia. As it melts, you stay refreshed with ice-cold drinking water, or provides you with warm water in the extreme cold. Even without the thermal benefits, Ice Plate and Ice Flask are rugged hydration solutions built for those, like myself, who have popped soft bladders. They take the water you're already carrying and give it dual purpose to help you overcome extreme temperatures and stay effective when others are focused on survival. I've been using Qore Performance since 2022 to conquer Arizona's heat and train year-round in the Southwest. I've been a fanboy for a long time. Nathan and Phil also rock this stuff. I think Qore's equipment is seriously differential from most offerings in the gear world, and now they're supporting the show. Aside from Ice Plate and Ice Flask, they also make an excellent ultralight hydrophobic plate carrier, which I run, the Ice Plate Exo Gen 3, and have ventilated padding called Ice Vents, which don't trap heat and sweat like legacy foam padding. Check out QorePerformance.com and use code ArtandWar10 for 10% off. Every purchase with our code supports the show. Links are in the description and our link tree. Thanks for listening. Now let's get back to the show.
If this isn't common use, I don't know what is. And I live in Bumblefuck, and I can think of like 5 or 6 stores within not a very long drive of my house where I can go and buy a super safety. That is very common use.
No,
it's really exploding.
Proliferation, and I think you hit it. Yeah, you hit it on the head, Tim. Like now, the way that it was released, there is absolutely no way to put that genie back in the bottle, and 100% on like there just being one big flashy raid. That is always the tactic, and then, like you said, absolutely no charges need to be filed. Just an example made, and then it's not codified at all. There is no one saying like, no, this is 100% illegal or it's legal. It's just fear is now the law.
All they have to do is just say that it's part of an investigation. We're investigating it. They can call it a machine gun on their paperwork, like we're investigating a machine gun. That doesn't mean anything. They can investigate anything. And if it's part of an ongoing investigation, they can hold your stuff for basically indefinite. It's like 7 years or something. That they can hold evidence, and that's what they do. So that's and it's not, there's lots of cases we don't hear about that same thing happens in. That's the standard technique to deal with things they don't like that are still legal.
No,
Typical
Gestapo is the way to go to stomp out these kind of things. I mean, to a lesser and somehow even dumber extent, it's how we lived under that whole like pistol brace stock thing for whatever that was, like a year and a half, 2 years of like the FUDs at gun ranges being like self-imposed Gestapo. Like, hey, Sonny, I'm not sure about that. It's like, dude, it's not illegal. What the fuck are we talking about?
But on the kind of bright side of that too, the amount of like, fuck it, just put a stock on it.
And it's like, well, what's one NFA violation? Why not all 3? Like at this point, we're in such like an extra legal weird kind of environment where it's like you have both this Trump slump kind of like, well, there's no one, well, for now, gunning for our stuff so openly as they were during the Biden administration, and such like a weird level of like what even is legal nowadays. People are just kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm actually just gonna do Second Amendment shit.
Yeah.
I think actually we're really well primed right now for sort of like a organic mass non-compliance with like even like suppressors, because like the tax is going away next year. That's going to make a lot of people over the first few months of 2026. That's going to make a lot of people a lot less respectful of NFA stamps. Like NFA, like a stamp. It's like, I mean, it's like something you fill out some paperwork and there's no tax. Like, do we really need that? So I think we're going to see some really interesting changes as a result of that. And then there's the general shift in favor of non-compliance.
Yeah, 100%. No,
I love that.
No, it is a time for taking ground in a way that, like, I don't think any of the actual, like, a lot of the gun rights bodies that like to claim the victories, it's like, it's just been non-compliance, dude. It's always been non-compliance. That's the thing that actually moved the goalposts. And, like, you know, bless everyone, like, putting the work into, like, codifying it and making it so people don't have the threat of, like, you know, decades in prison for these things. But ultimately...
Ben Sanderson, we love you.
Yeah. But ultimately, it's the people, like, you know, putting it on the line, taking these risks and pushing the bar that are actually getting the stuff done.
Yeah.
For sure.
But on the actual raids, you mentioned like having a little bit more insight into like why that went down.
Well, so the original Twin Bros raid was really sketchy. Like the details on it were sketchy because their like social media accounts were removed, their website was removed. I couldn't get in touch with them at all. And
I've noticed after all this happened. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
After all this happened, and I saw your post, I got really mad and immediately tried to find their social media so I could direct message them.
They don't have one.
Nasty things. Yeah, there's nothing. There was nothing. I can't even call them a slur.
So the rumor story, and there was one video of a raid column driving by some guy's house at night who claimed it was the same area. So I was part of this. The rumor came out that the raid was fake, that they were just leaving with credit card info, which is sure what it looked like. A lot of like 1,300 people didn't get orders or something. It was a big number.
Yeah.
So that's like $130,000 or something like that. Doing the math, 100,000. But so that's how it started. Moved forward way more recently. I actually talked with Cam, who was the owner, the guy who ran Twin Bros. And he had some paperwork there. We looked at it, and the raid was like a Department of Homeland Security operation called Operation Super Safe.
What the
Super Safe? Yeah, very interesting. They took all of his super safeties, called the machine guns on the paperwork, took all of his guns, everything. Took all the business stuff, financial stuff. Yeah, no, so it did happen, and they did not press any charges. They just detained him for basically part of an afternoon and let him go home, said it was just basically part of an investigation. We've confiscated this stuff. We're just investigating. We're investigating something. And that was like more than a year ago, almost 2 years ago, I think, like a year and a half ago. And they're still investigating.
Okay, so just 6 more years until he gets his shit back.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks to me like at that time, he was the big seller. Like he was the one selling super safeties. There was a couple other little companies, but he had kind of really grabbed it and run with it. Yeah. And I think that they thought he was a target. The only thing that makes me less convinced of that particular theory is the fact that the publicity was so bad that everybody, including myself, were pretty sure that it was fake. Like when you do a raid and people think it was a fake raid and didn't really happen, it means you did a crappy job intimidating people. So that's the only thing that I find strange. Like if you're going to do an intimidating raid, make it like relatively public, let people know. Instead, rumors got started and people weren't really concerned and they started making super safeties and it, cat's out of the bag. So, so the raid did happen, and there's been talk of other super safety stuff being confiscated, but there's like nothing online and just kind of word of mouth, in the past, like similar attempts at intimidation that haven't actually been successful. I heard from a seller who claimed that he got stuff confiscated at one point by the ATF. And so that's interesting.
For my own curiosity, did this raid happen before or after the ATF did their rare breed determination?
Oh, this was well before.
Okay.
The rare breed determination was earlier this year, and the raid happened last year. Yeah. So it was like a year before.
I have a very loose timeline in my head, so apparently it's not very good. But that I think that does help a little bit with the idea of legitimization of these things.
Yeah, I think so. No, I think that was very good. Particularly, there's a favorable court ruling in Texas, which is still standing in favor of basically all forced reset, active reset triggers. And I think that's definitely beneficial because there's like something legal from a court you can point to and say, hey, this is legal. And it's not being appealed because of the weird settlement. So that's a whole other thing. But
There's a couple of things I want to dig into there. I mean, one, like rare Texas gun rights W, like almost non-existent, despite what Texans say. But the other thing for anyone who isn't terribly familiar with it, because I remember like seeing this super briefly, but I didn't dig into it because I'm very bad at actually monitoring gun laws. I just kind of do American things. But the rare breed determination by the ATF. What exactly was kind of the outcome of that?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not super familiar with it myself either because it's been like 3 months since I read about it all. But there was never a ATF determination. What there was is there's a favorable court ruling in Texas, in the court there, which the government appealed. And then
of course they did.
Somehow Rare Breed got the settlement agreement with the Department of Justice. Part of that was the Department of Justice dropped the appeal. So that appeal, that the win in Texas stands. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff that Rare Breed agreed to in this settlement agreement. So like they said that we're not going to press charges, all of that. And then they agreed to like not market pistol FRTs, for an example. So that is kind of what happened. It's a weird, like behind closed doors, they talked about it, came up with a settlement agreement. Why the DOJ complied with it, like why they even agreed to in a settlement, I find like basically it seems to me that one side or the other would have enough power or enough confidence just to go to and win instead of coming to an agreement. But I mean, that's what happened. And the agreement is the fact that it upholds or allows the case in Texas to be upheld is really what's important, because that's really the key legal point there. Everything else was just weird, strange, like conspiratorial extra stuff. So.
Yeah. There's the pistol FRT thing is a little funny, and I have, and this is just in the back of my head. I wonder if things are happening behind the scenes in terms of enforcement actions, or if there's other reasons, namely with Glock being in the media so much lately. I've noticed Glock FRTs being taken down quite a bit. A few companies that I saw selling them, suddenly they're nowhere to be found on their websites. I genuinely wonder if people have quietly received letters or...
Yeah, there is definitely something about pistols that seems to me... Oh, nice, cool. There's definitely something about like handgun because of like their common use in crime by certain demographics in certain cities. There seems to be something very media oriented about it that they didn't want to touch on. Why the Department of Justice would care is what I don't know. Like I understand why myself or Rare Breed or some other company would not want to get involved in pistol FRTs because it's bad media. Or it can become bad media. Why the Department of Justice cares? Like, I think they would like bad media because it helps them ban more stuff. So that's the weird part about it.
No, that makes sense. I've been wondering because I figured it was either that or the difficulty of installing and tuning them, because your average basement gunsmith with a Dremel might not be able to. But it is nice to see the proliferation of TX22 FRTs and other fun little things that derive from the forced reset technology. Sorry, continue. Yeah.
I mean, so I personally don't have too much interest in pistol FRTs just because, like, you shoot one Florida Glock and it's a good experience. Nothing wrong with it.
They are a giggle machine. They're fun.
Yeah, at that desert shoot, when people would hand around like super safe pistols or basically pistols like that.
I think it was Avis Rails with the two FRT. They had switches. The two Glock 44s with switches.
They feel like a gel blaster.
Avis had two of those.
Yeah, like you shoot those a couple times and you're like, why?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little cynical because like I've been shooting like machine guns at events and things with super safeties for so long that like it doesn't really have the appeal to me. Like I believe that they're very useful. Like unlike some people think it's better off to be semi-auto, slow, precise shots, whatever. But it's not like as much fun. Like recently, like for fun shooting, I've been like I got a old like lever action 22. I have a little bolt action 22. I have several single shot 22s.
Yeah.
I mean, like I go play with them. You shoot like them slowly. I don't know. Like I play with different stuff. Like that's what's interesting, or like the mechanics of the gun. It's like shooting a lot of ammo down range of the machine gun is like, it's more of like business for me now. When it's like, I have to go test this. Let's go shoot 200 rounds or whatever. So
I entirely agree. I think my favorite kind of shooting right now is just like long range and steel. I'm starting to feel my age, I guess. I'm starting to feel like those fuddy duddies I see at the range asking, like, hey, what you got there, Sonny? I just like set up in the meadow and shoot.
That's hilarious. I feel kind of the same way, actually. Yeah, it's like there's a certain evolution you go through with guns. Like you start off with the shotgun or your grandpa's hunting rifle, and then you get a cheap BCA AR, and then you get like some cheap gun show gear. You know how like the really tacky gun show gear, like not like milsurp, like the Chinese stuff. You get some of that. You get like some sort of a hollow glow optic on there, and you're like tactical and you're really cool. And then you realize, oh wow, this is cheap. You start getting expensive AR stuff and expensive gear. And then at some point you kind of go through the whole circle and you come back to, after a while you've got this whole kit and stuff. Nothing wrong with that. Like actually having good guns. That's a good thing. Yeah. But from a firearms interest standpoint, that only takes you so far. Then you get back into old guns and things that have interesting mechanics. Yeah, and as someone who does design work, that's my primary focus anyway. So that's kind of I've circled back.
Technology and the history behind all these things. That being said, there's one thing I really, really like forced reset triggers for, which is personally a lot of mine, which is the smile other people have. The smile of people who aren't as jaded as me, who haven't shot all of those. Yeah, like
that's good.
The forced reset smile is a very real thing, and just like after someone rips off a couple of rounds in very safe mode, they turn and they all have the same grin. Like you can see all of their teeth, and they're like, "What is this?" And that is very wholesome to me.
Oh, dude, for actually, this is. Super safeties were essentially the heart of my bachelor party. I can't remember the latter half, thanks to whiskey. But like prior to any drinking or anything, we went out. I took a bunch of Brits that would visit. That would visit me out here to the range, and I was like, I've taken most of these guys shooting before, like when I lived in England, and then when they visited me out in Arizona. But I was like, you guys haven't been to the States in a couple of years. Like, you don't know what we have these days. So me and our camera guy, Phil, brought a bunch of Brits out to the range with super safety. So he super safed an M16 that was suppressed. And then he's got this like little 9mm Franken SMG that he chucked a super safe in. And
it's like Car 15 SD or something.
Something like that. Yeah. And he was filming their reactions as they were shooting. Some of them hadn't ever shot, and then most of them had only shot like bolt actions or whatever in their lives. Yeah. And then it's like, here's a super safe M16, and, like, and I think you had the same thing with some Canadian buddies, Nathan. But he was filming them like in 8K in like slow mo. We'll have to put out the video at some point. But you just see them all like nervous, and then they get like 6, 8, 12 shots in, and then they're just kind of giggling as it's bucking in slow motion.
The forced reset smile.
Oh, dude, it's beautiful.
That is cool. Yeah, I mean, there is a certain satisfaction in like, especially like a belt fed and like the continuous destruction. Like after a while, like I mean that like in the moment, I definitely understand the attraction.
Bumps the jadedness off just briefly.
Yeah, just briefly. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm sure you know Cody of Red Right Hand.
Yes,
I was just visiting him a couple weeks ago. He's not too far of a drive from me, and you came up, and everyone loves you. But yeah, we were talking about the.
It's good to hear.
The super safe belt fed coming into civilian hands and being something attainable for people. I'm like, wow, I could not have thought of this. I could not have even perceived the idea of this. 6 years ago, 2 years ago, even.
Yeah.
Like, do it for the culture, as I said before.
Genuinely, that's something, not to like blow smoke or anything, but seriously, it is just kind of a permanent notch on the everyman in the everyman's toolkit, to have this capability. And some people view firearms as just like there's this annoying ass sign I see when I drive out to Nashville, and it says "Man Toys," and it's a big revolver on it, and I'm like,
I know the exact billboard you're talking about. I know that. It's right there on I-40. Yeah.
Every time I drive past that,
yeah, it's like
I'm
stupid, cheesy stuff.
I'm like, fuck you. Your generation is what lost us so many fucking rights.
Yeah. I mean,
thanks, Brandon.
So some people. There's like the man. I feel like that's like a low IQ type take, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, my personal interest is more in the mechanical side of things. I mean, as well as I like weapons for the sake of destruction, but the mechanical side of things I find interesting. Like the history of firearms is something that like I really glaze over. Like, yeah, like this happened, but like let's get I want to know where it came from, but like let's get past it. Like the different, like some people get very into the different like production runs of a particular shotgun, and then there's this one, and there's the serial numbers are different. Like I really do not care what the serial number is. I don't care if the serial numbers match. Does it work? And more importantly, how does it work? Like even if it's broken, like I don't care. Like give it to me. So that's more of my perspective on it is the mechanical side, and I really do not care about the little nitty gritty history, which seems to be like the guys who are really into guns. And I think this is fine. Like there's actually a lot to be learned here. Like they tend to know some interesting things about what came from where and like the histories of mechanisms. But like at gun shows, you talk to old guys into guns, like their big thing is mostly like the history and like the serial numbers and the different variations. Like I don't even know that much about it to speak
no. This production run, like from this to this digit, these all got shipped off to Korea. Ain't that interesting? Like, oh, great!
Yeah.
Cool. These are Canadian Lee Enfields. Oh, fantastic!
Exactly. Yeah. That exactly. Just like I'm like I don't care, and you can tell I don't care because I don't know anything about it. But
it's funny when I was like a kid in Britain without much access to guns, I was like that old man at gun shows because there was nowhere else for my enthusiasm to go. So it just went into like learning all of that background stuff. Now that I'm handling it, I've bumped my head a good number of times since then. All of that shit has got shaken out, and now it's just like pure aggressive like utilitarianism about firearms. I'm like, it's like Nathan was saying about long range shooting. Like my special interest is now like just good reps on the rifle that my go-to rifle. I've had so many. I've been spoiled by the amount of things people have put in my hands over the years, and now at this point, I'm like, my rifle is the coolest rifle to me, and it's not great. It's got an arrow upper. It does okay. I put some nice stuff on over the years, but that's the coolest gun to me. And it's funny when people start spurging about, oh well, this particular CZ got imported in the 80s. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. It's a fucking tool to me. It's cool. It's great. But all of that ramble to say, like this, what not only is the super safety like fun and put smiles on people's faces, and of course you should be able to own guns with that capability, but like the actual, militia kind of, or like that's a scary word for some people. The actual like, civilian rifleman applications, whatever. Of having the super safety that is immense of itself, having it at anyone's fingertips.
What you brought up earlier with the belt fed, which is just to say it, the Lima 6 or Lima 6 if you want to say it properly. I say Lima because YouTube commenters deserve it, but anyway, so the Lima 6 belt fed from Lima 6, super cool project, which I've kind of been I've been in touch with him since he was earlier on in the project, and he went back and forth. He sent me one of the beta units, which we were testing, and Harvey is the guy who runs the company, has done a fantastic job, like looking at the niche that people want, that people need, which is a basic belt fed, just to get people interested in it, and has done a fantastic job fulfilling that role while still keeping things simple and not being like so many gun companies you talk to. Like I've become very jaded about the entire gun industry. Like I don't want to be doing guns anymore just because I don't want to interact with all like the normal gun people. There's a small group of 3D printing gun guys who I really enjoy hanging out with, and it's usually not even gun related stuff. Like sometimes gun related stuff, but like they're just genuinely good people. They're intelligent, good people who have a lot of interests. But outside of that, like just gun guys, like I just find deeply irritating. Like most of them are exceedingly arrogant, not that smart, and it's I have this innovative new thing, and like you're changing the shape of a bolt head.
Oh god!
Okay, that's refinement is fine, but like just do that on all your products as a normal thing. Yeah. So Harvey has done a really Harvey's done a fantastic job, like not being that guy at all. I think it's because he's not from the firearms industry. Like he hasn't been around that at all, and he's just a good guy. So it's just been a really enjoyable project to watch and to watch people get interested in it and stuff. So if you want a belt fed, this is a great time to have it. Between the Super Safety and the Lima 6. There's a lot to be done, and it is belt feds are a lot of fun. I will say, definitely wears that jadism about fast guns off pretty quickly, at least while you're shooting it.
Yeah. So sometimes I get nostalgic for carrying a 249, and it kind of scratches the itch.
Definitely.
Somehow. Yeah.
Definitely.
It is. I'm very, very much getting one of the Recce RPDs when it drops. I'm going to consume that little thing. Don't have a working car right now, but I'll have a belt fed.
Yeah, just walk with your belt fed. Yeah. I still want to do that. I have a friend who does like weird YouTube videos. Like he builds just random weird like bicycles with lawnmowers on them, that kind of thing. But or driving toilets. Like he just does weird stuff, and we still want to do the video where it's like the belt fed power, the Super Safety belt fed powered bicycle. Where it's gonna like use the recoil of the repellent. Obviously, there's like some safety concerns you have to get past, but that's something we still want to play with. That which should be weirdly fun.
Yeah,
rocket basically. Yeah, reaction powered. So
that take that, Hickok. I always go back to that clip of him and Azuzi doing the ride by.
on the scooter. Yeah. Or what was it? I can't remember. Motorcycle, bicycle. I can't. Either way, it is a classic video.
So let's see. I don't know what you guys want to cover next. I think we touched on the Super Safety some for sure. Obviously.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was saying there's lots more there we could cover, but we want to have some variety here. So
I also want to ask what other projects you're working on, because like everyone knows about the Super Safety, everyone knows about the Orca.
Yeah,
like, I mean, what else interests you specifically? It doesn't even have to be gun related.
So this might be a good time to kind of butt in, and so we were just talking about being jaded with the gun industry, but like hot air balloons. I love it when I get a Hoffman Tactical balloon post. Like, what is the someone who was I talking to? Someone was saying that you like build them yourself, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, so I built one hot air balloon. I have one hot air balloon. I built one hot air balloon.
I'm sure so quite the effort all the same.
It's a lot of learning, really. I mean, the actual sewing itself, like I'm going to do another one because they wear out pretty quickly. I got to do one. But the actual like building it, it's not that bad once you learn. But it's like just figuring it out, because there is no how to build a hot air balloon YouTube video. I think there's actually so the British. I don't know where in England you're from, but the British are really into lighter than air. I love that about them. They're very like a lot of the home built airships have come from the UK. They have a very healthy ballooning community over there as well. And there's a couple videos of guys who sewing them, but it's like not a how to. It's just like sewing them in a little shed, like with high speed, fast video, like moving fabric around. So there's no like book or videos you can watch on how to sew a hot air balloon. So there's definitely a lot to figure out. You have to talk to people, go look at real balloons, all of that kind of thing. So that's really the biggest hurdle in it. So I have like buildingballoons.com, which there's nothing there. I don't even have a website, but like I started some social medias and stuff, hoping to try to fix that. The act of building the balloon was enough without trying to document it in extreme detail. So maybe on my second balloon, I'll try to do like a book or a detailed website with videos on like how you build a hot air balloon, so other people can sort of short circuit the learning process and get involved sooner.
I love that. That's like the next thing to proliferate. You're like, all right, we need
hot air balloons.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful.
But there's a lot. So there's a lot with. So the hot air balloon thing starts with airships. So I'm very interested in airships.
Yes.
Really for. It's really like romanticism more than anything. I mean, I at this point, sometimes it's not practical. I'm like, shut up. I don't care. Like, this is the 21st century. Nothing needs to be practical. Like we have robotic farming. Like we don't need to worry about everything being practical. Not that robotic farming is very good at all, but just an example. So airships are very interesting. So I got into airships first, like the history of airships. I got a whole library of books on airships because once again, not much online. A lot of books written in the last century on airships. So got into airships. I've done like some basic airship designs, come up with some stuff, played around. But airships are very expensive. So I wanted somewhere to start. So I looked into gas ballooning, which if you don't know is ballooning with hydrogen. And that's where you have the little sandbags you throw out, like Around the World in 80 Days. The film, which had a balloon in it. The book did not. It's that kind of thing, like the classic balloon that you think of with the net on it and everything. Got into that. Ended up getting the phone number of the only guy who builds gas balloons in the U.S.
Really?
Up in Pennsylvania. Yeah. And I called him like out of the blue randomly. I didn't really know very much. And he said, you can't afford the gas balloon, like learn how to fly a hot air balloon. And so I looked into, I was like, okay, I'll learn how to fly a hot air balloon. But it turns out there's not, like, you can't just go to a hot air balloon flight school like you can with an airplane. You have, there's like 2 schools that do wintertime training. One of them in Utah, one of them is in New Mexico. They're quite expensive. And then the balloons themselves are quite expensive as well. So I ended up through a mutual friend, actually Flying Rich. I mean, he's got a little YouTube channel, and he has done experimental aircraft. Actually, he built an experimental aircraft, crashed it twice, lived to tell the tale. A really interesting guy. He had a friend through aviation who did ballooning back in the 90s, including building his own balloons. So he got me in touch with him. And it turns out he's like one of the OGs in the home built balloon community, which is, it's a really weird way that we got in touch. And,
I love that.
Like, we got in touch through like someone I know via guns, not via, like, I know a bunch of balloonists. It wasn't via my balloonist connections. I thought that was just a really weird circle. But we went back and forth, and he convinced me that building a hot air balloon, which I had looked into like the year previously and thought that's impossible. He convinced me that, hey, it's actually not that bad. You should just build one. So I started looking into it, and ended up building a huge table and buying an industrial sewing machine and a bunch of factory seconds fabric, and sewing a hot air balloon and learning to fly it. I got a local instructor, and we learned relatively local, like 3 hours away, over in Asheville. So that's where I learned to fly, and over in the mountains. So it's been quite the journey, and I definitely like to work on the lighter than air stuff more in the future. It's very expensive. So I'm going to have to work on that.
Dude, that's
I would imagine there's some sort of like civil aviation laws and like licenses that you have to get to become a balloonist.
I mean, it's the same as an airplane. So I mean, it's all pretty straightforward. I have a private pilot's license. The balloon is registered. It's an experimental aircraft. It's the same as airplanes or anything else. And funny enough, so after dealing with like the ATF, all of the FAA regulations and everything are super reasonable. Like, it's like, I'm not even complaining.
This makes sense.
It all makes sense. Like, it's like very little of it is overbearing. I mean, except for their drone stuff. Like, all of the drone regulations are like they're completely retarded. Like, there's no reason to be regulating small private UAVs.
Of course, we know because of the effectiveness of drones why they are exactly like that.
Exactly. So with that aside, like the traditional FAA stuff, the problem is the FAA is a super slow bureaucracy, and it takes you like 4 or 5 months to get an N number and forever to get stuff in the mail, and they just drag their feet and they're slow. Other than that, and no one was in their office while I was doing all this because of the COVID thing.
Oh, cool.
So because of the Wu flu, it was impossible to get in touch with any FAA guys. Like, you had to, I went through like 4 phone call chain to get someone's private phone number to get in touch with them at the office in Nashville for reference. But once you do, like, they're all super reasonable, very helpful. So like the regulatory side of things, like, isn't even a huge problem because it's so reasonable, and it's mostly really old. I would say the unreasonable part that's gone too far is if I cannot use my balloon for commercial purposes because it's experimental, and there is no pathway legally to make the balloon legal for commercial purposes. Like, it will always be experimental. Like, that's the way it is. You must buy it must be a type certified aircraft, and getting an aircraft type certified nowadays, because of the ridiculous bureaucracy, is very, very expensive. Like, all of the current balloon manufacturers, like a lot of them aren't in the US. They're actually, like, Cameron is in the UK, and then we've got Kuba Czech, who's getting really big. They're over in the Czech Republic. But like the local manufacturer down in North Georgia, he makes envelopes. It's one old lady who sews them, like, for the last 25 years. It's kind of funny. Like, he's got a balloon factory, and it's one woman who does it. She's very cool. But all of his designs are type certified from the last century, like mostly from the 80s, just because he did it back then when it was relatively possible, and it's impossible nowadays, or just way too expensive to go through that. Because there's you have to have like custom guidelines written for testing, and it's not a established procedure. It's just like you have to prove that your aircraft is safe, and they can just decide whatever. So that's a huge problem with aviation that needs to get fixed. But other than that, actually, it's pretty reasonable.
That's actually really interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah. It's actually not that bad. Like it's reasonable. Like the license requirements and everything are super like understandable and reasonable. It's like, I had to do this anyway. So it's like a little bit of paperwork. Like who cares? Like, I mean, I kind of care, but compared to gun stuff, which is completely asinine and intrusive, it's like, it's not a big deal. It's hilarious. Yeah.
It's less driven by fear, I think would be the phrase.
Yeah, driven by fear, while aviation stuff is mostly just like practical rules of interaction for airplanes in a complex airspace system. I'm probably quoting one of the FAA publications there, but pretty much. So that's kind of the short take on building the balloon, and we've had some interesting flights.
That's awesome.
I worked for a airline doing civil aviation job that I'm not going to talk about on here many years ago. And I walked in, I'm like, wow, that's a strange law. All right. That's also a strange law. It's a very strange regulation. And then when we had to undergo some training to kind of learn exactly where these come from, it's like, oh, that kind of makes sense actually. Like most of these laws are written in the blood of people.
Yeah, I mean that's the case with most stuff, and I think sometimes they go a little too. Like at some point, like I believe in acceptable risk. That's just me though. A lot of regulators don't, but you can't. There's certain things you can't get rid of, and you're just going to add ropes. But yeah, most of it's super reasonable. There's things that I think should like altitude requirements for balloons are the same as airplanes. I think that's ridiculous. Like flying balloons low to the ground is perfectly safe. Like there's no. It's safer. In fact, it's because you have less potential energy. It's not like an airplane where you're doing 200 miles an hour. And if you hit something, no matter how high you are, you cause incredible damage. So it's better to be high up where you can steer. With the balloon, like if it fails, I want to be low to the ground so I don't hit the ground very hard. It's not like I'm going to be able to hit the ground in a different spot when I'm really up high.
Coast in.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that should definitely change. Oh, Nathan's got something going on there.
Oh, Nathan's always got something.
He's flagging the camera. My goodness. Look at it.
Oh,
so unsafe.
I'm so
You should try talking to him face to face.
Oh, God.
I joke.
Just constantly testing everyone else's carry guns by their mouth feel.
Nice. Yeah, that one's good.
A rare vintage.
How to weird people out at the range very quickly.
Yes. Or scare the guy behind the counter at the gun shop.
Dude, why are all your muzzles so dry? Where's the saliva?
Oh my goodness, it's dark.
So I am like I do wish for like this solar punk future where we can have like, you know, all of those beautiful kind of like not quite steampunk methods of transport, but airships are something that as a kid I couldn't quite. Obviously, there's like impracticalities, and you see the Hindenburg and all of that stuff. But I'm like,
watch it.
Hey, I'm not enough of a nerd to know shit or to know where I'm talking.
Yeah,
shit.
so I mean, with airships, I mean, so there's two problems with airships. The one that's always cited is speed, and back then, like moving into the 1950s, like it's the jet age, everyone wants to be super fast.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays speed is not that important. Like I would like to go to Europe on a boat. Like I don't like it's okay. I have the time. Like I'm you know a wealthy. I work online. I don't need to be constantly running around like a rat, right? So that whole speed thing, I think we can kind of dismiss at this point. So the only real problem with airships is cost. Like they actually can be operated practically. They can be operated safely. Like ground handling, weather. These are all things people cite as problems, but it really comes down to cost in the end. Airships are very large. They require large infrastructure and they're expensive. So that's really their only downside. But I think with cost, what that means is that less people can use it. So in other words, we should still have airships we should still have the option to travel on airships. It's just going to be expensive and not that common. The problem is we don't. At this point, the only airships that are flying is we have the Zeppelin NT airships, which is what the Goodyear quote blimps are nowadays. They're no longer blimps. They're now semi-rigid. It's actually a really cool design from the 90s. But the Goodyear has some of those. There's a couple of them operating in Germany. That's a company that has an interesting history, actually, you know, as much as we don't like weird histories, but going back to the gun thing, but they're using money from the original Zeppelin company that was like in a trust. So that's how they got started. It's an interesting story. We have them. Then we have American Blimp Corp, or it's Airship Industries. I forget which now. But there's a company out in Washington which makes airships, and it's like a couple guys in a hangar who occasionally make an airship, kind of a thing. And they have like the Dick's Sporting Good blimp, if you've seen that one.
Oh
yeah. That's their blimp. They make them in up in Oregon, Tillamook, at the airship hangar up there.
Oh, should have been there.
Yeah, I really want to be there. It's an incredible building, like that giant wooden hangar.
Yeah,
it's super cool.
I've driven by there. I haven't actually.
I've never been up there. I've just seen pictures. But yeah, it's a really cool spot used by for Navy blimps in the Second World War. But so we have those some basically very limited advertising blimps going on. Goodyear does it just because if they stop doing it, it would just look absolutely horrible for their company, which has already gone downhill enough. So Goodyear's like entitled to spend a huge amount of money on airships. And then we have the most recent and most interesting development is Sergey Brin, one of the Google founders, a very wealthy guy. For the last, at this point, it's been like 15 years since he kind of started. He just this year has been flying his rigid airship, now the largest aircraft of any kind in the world. He's been flying around the Bay Area. It's a big white thing, carbon fiber frame. Really, really cool project because he's been doing it in a very competent way. Like most airship companies are like enthusiasts like myself who con investors into money and then throw something together, which I very much do not intend to do. But I guess you couldn't tell that there could have been sarcasm there. I guess I'm not really sure which way I was going. I'm not sure, but Sergey's been working this project for a long time. He's got like 200 employees. He's spent hundreds of millions of dollars on it. Like he's got long-term leases on the two of the largest U.S. Navy airship hangars, like the one up in Akron, he now controls, or his company controls it, which is really interesting. So I don't know what his plan is. Like he claims it's for like emergency relief efforts in third world countries, something retarded like that.
Okay, bud. Yeah, make it I don't believe it. I respect it, kind of.
Yeah, I think that it's just a hobby of his, which I have huge respect for. Yeah. Like a billionaire who has a really interesting, really cool hobby and is like doing it in a competent way.
And it's not evil yet.
Yeah, I have exactly. I have huge respect for. So that is the only real interesting development we've had in Britain. The Airlander project they actually built it was a hybrid airship, the weird like flat one they had in Cardington. It crashed back in 2018 during testing. I mean, when I say crashed, it just deflated, like nothing happened. But so we have the whole point of that massive string on airships is that we have very few airship options. We don't have any airship tourist rides or anything like that. Dude, outside of Germany with the Zeppelin airship, the small, and it's a tiny little thing. Relatively, it's actually very large. But I just feel like we deserve an airship. So I have some ideas and stuff, but I want a large, in the nose, which is kind of a radical idea, but I think it's quite practical. Have a large, like clear nose, like you'd see in the AI renderings with a balcony and cabins and all of that. And what I've been thinking about would be interesting. Actually, I got several like film ideas I toyed around with.
Film ideas.
Not like anything as detailed as a screenplay, but just like, the film industry is just horribly stuck. So I think a film featuring an airship in a positive light would be really interesting. I've like a whole page in my notebook on it.
Airship propaganda.
Yeah, but like not like a military film, like more like a slightly sci-fi themed, but very realistic technology with airships.
But we
and not fantasy. So
people who listen to this. So if you're listening to this, hey, fucking throw money at this. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, really. I have a very, I have an excellent ability to render stuff in my head. Like I have a difficulty writing it. Like I'm still trying to get better at drawing, but I can tell you, I can promise guys, it looks fantastic. It really looks spectacular.
I am rotating an airship in my head right now, and it looks
yes, I can see the view. It looks really, really, really good. I think the benefit of that would be public impression. Because the problem we suffer from right now, and this is actually like a serious problem, is we have on one side we have the Hindenburg. And that's basically it. Like, and when I was young, I didn't realize that airships were a thing. I thought like the Hindenburg was an experimental thing that burned. Like I didn't realize that there was over 100 rigid airships built, like Hindenburg class airships. I mean, most of them are much smaller, but they're still incredibly enormous compared to anything we have nowadays. So airships were actually a really big deal for the first almost 40 years of the 20th century.
Yeah.
So most people have that Hindenburg impression, which is just wrong. So they don't understand the technology. And then the second problem is that airships nowadays have been portrayed exclusively in fantasy, like exclusively. Like there is no pop culture with a realistic airship in it. I mean, almost none. I think there's the Japanese guy who does anime, and I'm not into anime, so I don't really anything about it. But there's the one guy who like does all the guns, the accurate gun anime drawings. He has a rigid airship in it. This is Chairman Wan, the guy who designed Glock frames.
Oh, I love that dude.
Yeah, super cool guy.
Yeah.
He is much more into, like, he's more knowledgeable on anime. So he like it showed me the frames and stuff. I'm like, oh, that is actually pretty accurate. So there was but that's like very esoteric. Everything else is like literature with like pirate ships with sails and like special lifting gases and just completely retarded stuff. So I have zero patience for fantasy airships. I'm like, just shoot the guy, like get rid of him. Like it's that bad. So
no steampunk here.
Yeah, no, like, well, steampunk is a little different than fantasy. Like I don't have a huge problem with steampunk. The problem is like most people can't differentiate the two. So
they all blend together as fantasy.
We definitely, like, collectively as a culture, have some huge misimpressions of airships that need to be fixed. So I think an airship film could be very successful. I'm thinking like an epic type piece, like 3 hours, very wide aspect ratio, bright colors. Yeah, I think it could be really good. I think it could be fantastic. A really big winner. So if anyone's interested.
Yes. Matt Zaranowski, I know you're out there. I know you're listening to this.
we need a romantic road trip quotation airship movie. Make it happen, someone.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I guess, an overview of a non-technical overview of my interest in airships. I feel like we should just have the option. So I would like to build a small experimental airship. So I played around with designs and hangar ideas and all kinds of different stuff. But the balloon is definitely part of that.
No, that is
awesome. Very cool.
This is I have two like super like what I have always considered two super stupid niche interests. One of them is I want someone to revive woolly mammoths. Some might say that's retarded. I want a Jurassic Park woolly mammoths. That's it. And people
just woolly mammoths.
And people are working on it. Like they're not going to fuck anything up. Really, they might stampede, but that's about it. It's like perfectly reasonable. I just want big like woolly.
That's fair. Okay, I don't. No complaints.
Would you eat a woolly mammoth steak? Would you do that?
Yeah, if there are a lot of them, I don't know. Elephants kind of have souls. Like they got like big, intelligent eyes. They'd be a little fucked up.
No, that's very.
I don't want to eat them. I just want to see them. They're majestic. I love.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, non. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're always portrayed as being kind of aggressive. I'm always a little leery of elephants myself. But yeah, like non-invasive, like big
the
woolly
airship
guys.
thing. That is anti-woolly mammoth propaganda, and I will not stand for it. They're actually
okay, fair point.
They must be very chill creatures, just like elephants.
Yeah. Something I didn't realize: elephants have very soft feet. Sorry. Okay, continue.
Number two.
Yeah. Number two is airships. As a kid, I was like the same thing. I want to like fly above like the Alps and the Appalachian Mountains.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And like,
not be like in a little shaky little box, like, or like in a little tube, like a little tiny pressurized portal, like a submarine.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then like also cruises sound awful to me. Like I don't want to be stuck on a ship with people. I'm a little averse. I'm fine on a ship, but I've never gone on a cruise. I don't like the idea of it. But you get me on like an air cruise, like.
Well, remember the people you're riding with, the quality is going to go way up on an airship compared to a typical cruise. So just keep that in mind.
True. The thing is, while I am like very pro airship, I don't think my paycheck would ever allow me to board one. It'd be like an Elysium thing. Like it would exist, and I'd be like staring up at them going over and going someday.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think like tickets prices in like the 4-digit range, I think is perfectly reasonable actually.
So
I think it's
not quite go to space, but like get me in an airship above some beautiful mountains or like a fucking
like a good period of time, like a 10-day cruise and an airship over like a wide, like a significant portion of the world, nonstop. I think that would be super awesome. And like it's big, like you have a lot of room, so like it's just super cool, like the whole thing. I mean, our viewers are glazing over because they probably don't have enough visual references to continue.
We do this all the time, which is probably one of my favorite things. Is like we start with someone who's like very known for one thing, and we just fucking tangent. It is my favorite thing about the show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reasonably well known for airships. I'm always meant like every podcast I'm on, it's airship something. I always make sure we get it in there. Yeah, so. There's a lot of, I mean, and then the other flip side of airships I don't really care about as much, but if you want a green aircraft, And like, this is maybe if you want to get investor money, this is something to consider. If you want a green aircraft, the airships are really well suited for it because of their efficiency and the large surface area potentially available for solar cells, even though there are superheating is a big problem. But that's where the sun heats your gas up, basically like a hot air balloon, and causes excess lift during the day and lack of lift at night. It's a challenge. So there's ways around it.
That's actually really interesting. I did not even consider that.
It's actually like, people talk about the problems with airships. Like, superheating is probably the number one. Like, that's the number one problem with lighter than air. Is super. Like, I don't know if it's fair to say number one problem. There are other bigger problems, but superheating is a huge problem. Like, that's why gas balloons can only fly for like 3 days, like the big ones, the 35,000 cubic footers with like 2 guys on board. They can only fly for maybe 3 days, usually 2, because every time the sun goes down, you have to dump a ton of sand, not literally, but like 100 pounds or several hundred pounds of sand in order to stay aloft. And then in the morning, when the sun comes out, your balloon warms up and you got to dump gas to not climb. So if you can beat that diurnal cycle using like an ammonia, so there's some really cool stuff putting ammonia in solution with water. There's a patent from like the 70s, which has a crude system, but I've been like playing around with a more sophisticated automated system, which could help beat that. And if you can beat that, you can fly with just a balloon. You can fly for a long time. With airships, historically, the way they get around that is through dynamic lift. So that's where you have an airship which is buoyant and floating, but when it warms up, you point the nose down and you basically use aerodynamic lift to push yourself down. And then the opposite's true. If you're too heavy, you use aerodynamic lift to pick yourself up. And that's traditionally how they do it. The problem is it does use more fuel. It cuts into your efficiency. So it's best to keep your ship in trim to fly as efficiently as possible. Yeah, and basically, the more forward propulsion that goes into lift, you go slower. You're going to slow down because your drag goes up. So it's a very fascinating subject.
I see. Like, I am a creative, a visual creative. So the engineering side, I'm like, fuck the practicality. These things are cool. And now hearing all of this, I'm like, I get why the world is at where it's at.
Yeah, it's something you never would have thought about without really thinking about the engineering of how it goes together. BR, I just want to see you with like the round glasses and the top hat with the goggles on.
Yeah.
Them. Like I want you to have a laser musket. Right. Sorry, continue.
I've got my safety goggles, my birth control goggles on, no, you're right. I belong in like the 1910s or something, except I'd have like a little explorer hat or some shit.
Except I really, really like synthetic fabrics, not for wearing, but for technical applications. I'm a huge fan of synthetic fabrics. So that's my only complaint with 1910 is we have to get all the fabrics done first. That's a lot of work. So.
Yeah, I could probably make the 1910s work. I keep on saying that, and then I'm like, what would I miss? I'm like,
synthetic. I'm telling you, synthetic fabrics. That's where it's at.
Yeah,
synthetic fabrics and coatings.
It comes up on the show a weird amount, but like my mind always jumps to like the protesters when the sewing machine was released, like getting rid of all the tailors. Like you'd have all the tailors in the street just like, no, ban this devil machine. I don't know why I just thought of that. Something probably with synthetic fabric.
I mean, there's like the Luddite rebellions that was weaving. That was actually cropping specifically. Which is you have like a fuzz in the outside of the fabric, which you cut off on natural fibers. As far as like the sewing machine causing people to get upset, I've actually never heard that before. I should look into that. I didn't know that was a thing.
It's with a really interesting part of like I bring it up a lot when on the show, like the natural progress of technology, unfortunately, and sometimes cool, sometimes not cool, replaces people's jobs, and it's the one thing that I remember the tailors protesting over sewing machines, because I remember when sewing machines were invented, the way you advertise things. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if sewing machines are the best example here. I mean, they were a
terrible example, but
okay. Yeah. I mean, because it was a kind of a very, it's a very gradual, sewing machines were very gradual adopted technology because they were invented kind of in stages and, very expensive and difficult to build at one point. So it wasn't nearly as sudden as some of the weaving technology, and the actual like cloth making probably is historically the cropper. You've heard the term cropper, obviously.
Yes.
The Luddite rebellion in England. That was a much more graphic example of that for sure.
Yeah. I love the history around that kind of stuff, which is
yeah. As long as it's not like gun history, I'm fine with history. Like it's cool. Like, please don't tell me about your gun history.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the airship thing, the balloon thing. Lots going on there. It's funny that you brought up drawing. So actually, I keep a notebook, like I keep sketches and stuff. I thought about publishing at some point as like a coffee table book. I just have like drawings of gun mechanisms and stuff in there. So that's something I more and more recently I've been doing, like just a lot of like sketching, and I'll lay it all out and I'll try to like fill the page up in like a pretty way. So I've been doing that more recently myself, actually, just doing drawing. I find it very enjoyable. So that's funny. You mentioned being an artist and not doing as much technical stuff, but
well, if you ever want an artist to look over stuff and try and help you visualize things, let me know. It's literally my full-time job. That's like, I've done that for companies. I've done technical diagrams and things like that, and I'll just do it for fun. I think it'd be cool.
That's cool. I religiously only do black pen on paper, but
I religiously only do black pen and digital paper for the most part for this kind of thing. So it makes sense. Yeah.
I don't know how you guys do the digital stuff, but
it's at least with an iPad, it was a pretty easy transition. Just took a little bit of time to learn all the, and I still don't know all the
I tried drawing the iPad and I was like, nope.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like I always had a sketchbook on me growing up. Nathan, did you grew up like illustrating normally? Like
I was very much like Walmart pads, like the little cheap yellow sketchbooks that you get from there.
Yeah.
Either that or like on the margins of my homework and shit like that.
I was gonna say, all of my homework planners and shit throughout school were just elaborate sketchbooks with some notes.
And then weird letters from my teacher being like, has a disturbing fascination with like X or Y. And then
that's funny. So I was homeschooled, so I didn't like have the teachers looking over my shoulder, but I actually still have like part of it. I don't know. I wish I hadn't broken the rest, but at one point I was like obsessed with rockets, like just man carrying rockets. I don't even, because nowadays I'm kind of cynical about space travel nowadays. I'm not so into it, but I guess at one point in my past life, when I was like 6. So I have this book just filled with 2-dimensional drawings, like of rockets with like the engine and then the little seat you sit in, like tons of it. So
Same here, weirdly enough. I'm sure that I was way too retarded as a child, and I probably still am, to make anything that remotely would work. But I had a big rocket phase where I was trying to design one that could enter like low atmosphere orbit.
Yeah, that's funny. I had the same thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. What about submarines? Any submarines?
No, the submarines weren't my thing. Dinosaurs were. Though.
Oh, interesting. So that's funny. I was never into dinosaurs, but submarines. Very much into submarines, and then engines, like just like. With a crank, like electromagnetic, anything with like a weird crank setup, I was obsessed with it for a while. But, that was a long time ago. Very long time ago. So
I think I got into guns as a kid. Now I'm a little jaded over it. I think a lot of that reason was like my parents didn't let me do anything to do with them. They're like, no, this is bad. This is very bad. So I got into like air rifles and things like that. And that kind of got me into real guns, and then all of this. But rockets was the big one. Rockets was like.
Did you do like actual like real rocketry stuff as well, or just like an interest?
No, it was an interest, but I unfortunately got into my art jobs and didn't really have the brain for the physics or the engineering behind it. Maybe if I applied myself.
It's funny, like Nathan, I always puff Nathan up about his like engineering or like his mechanical mind, and he's like, nah man, I'm retarded. And then I'll go over to his place and he's like explaining shit to me about like a mechanism or something. I'm sitting there just like kind of nodding, like I know what he's saying. And then he'll just disassemble something, explain it, put it back together, not even thinking, or do the same thing at SHOT Show. Like, we were at the PSA booth and he's like disassembling shit, and they're like, oh no, please don't disassemble it. He's like, oh sorry. Puts it all back together again.
Yeah, it's a little tismy, and I feel bad. The Zev did not care. I like took apart their FPG.
Oh my god!
The
little suitcase gun. The rep looked over a couple of times, and we were just acting like we were doing some content, and he's like, okay, whatever.
No, I just really wanted to see how it went together, like how it worked, like how they did the heat sinks and stuff. For I know they had problems. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, that's good. Very, you're probably more mechanical minded. You just haven't had like a motivation to apply yourself.
My big thing is like, and I feel like this is part of why I really like your work. I really want designs that are cool to get out there. They don't even have to be super useful. I just want to open source everything. I want to open source the world. I want.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I just think it's like the whole like intellectual property in general, like bothers me like more and more in certain cases. Like, I mean, obviously if you write a book, like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, it's just the idea that like, this is mine, I'm going to keep this. And I'm like, just make money on it. Like, who cares? Like if someone takes it, like, doesn't hurt me.
It's so. Like, I remember a little while, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just getting angry again for the rare breed people existing. I saw a little while ago, he was posting in some super safety group. It's like, if you print this, we will come after you. If you do anything, if you own one, if you make one, if you think about having one, we will get you.
The weird, so the whole strange thing with that is like, when they first sent that cease and desist out to the first guy making super safeties back this spring, I got in touch with them. I spoke with both Cole and Lawrence, who are like the two public facing guys for that conglomerate. Like, it's a whole mess as far as like which company is which and what holding company owns who. But I talked about it and I was trying to explain, like, guys, like, this is a terrible way of doing business. Like, why are you first of all, you already have a lot of money. Like, why are you not retiring? Like, I would be doing something not gun related. Like, I would be getting out of this industry so quickly. But secondly, just go ahead and sell the product and don't make people hate you. Like, you're causing all this unnecessary stress. And that's like my big thing. Like, I would never sue anybody because, like, why would I cause all that unnecessary stress? Like, I have a limited amount of time to do things. Like,
I'm going to spend it suing people.
Yeah, like, please. So I don't understand what motivates. And I legitimately like was trying to explain to them, like I still would, like, guys, like, this is really bad. Like, I personally really have loved what they've done with the ATF. A lot of other people have too. And I was trying to say, like, run with that. Like, run with that. You have the original product. Sell it. Even prevent, don't let people copy your product. You guys don't have any patent coverage of the super safety. Like, why are you trying to like think that? So from what I can tell is, and I keep using like a lot because I don't understand exactly what the motive is. It's they're trying to maintain exclusive market control, like, of all forced reset, active reset stuff. Yeah. And my impression as time goes on is that they think it's because they think they deserve it. Like, they think they deserve exclusiveness.
It's not even like trickery. It's just like,
it's not even trickery. It's like they personally, like, they think that they deserve it. So they're going to fight for what they think that they deserve because it's like it's justice. So they're trying to get justice for what they deserve. Like, that's just my impression. Like, they haven't told me that, but
no, it sounds like a reasonable assumption.
Yeah. That's like, of everything I've seen reading court documents, that's my impression. And it makes me kind of sad because here are two human beings who could be doing something fun or useful. And instead they're just letting themselves get eaten up over this obsession, which is not benefiting them in the long run in any way.
Not at all.
It's like alienating them from everybody. It's really actually sad to see. So I do wish that that they'd realize that and do something different with their lives.
What's that phrase from Batman? It's like you die the hero, or you stay alive long enough to become the villain. Like,
I've actually seen that used in this case a couple of times.
Yeah, because like if they ran with that goodwill. If they ran with that goodwill after beating the case, and even if they sold their own super safety or anything else, like, I'm sure people would have fucking loved them.
There's so much goodwill out
household
there.
Name, yeah.
We're going through like generational levels of wins right now for gun rights, and then me and Nathan talk about this all the time on the show. It's like, why is the community at large and industry taking a hammer to its own fucking head? It's like, just take the win, guys. Why are we biting at each other?
And and there's actually a lot. So there's a lot of like patent stuff, like lawsuits and angry people in the gun industry in general. Like, if you get into it, it happens a lot. Now, I think this is kind of a special case. Like, it's much bigger and weirder, very much weirder than most. Like, the whole like, not even super safety, but like the whole FRT trigger, like force reset trigger story arc is much wider than most people realize, and it's way more complicated and way more murky, and there's some stuff that I suspect is much darker than I realize. So it deserves an entire book written on it, or another film idea, though I think the airship one would be a lot more positive. But so it's very like there's a lot going on, and it's very strange, and their motives, I mean, maybe it goes deeper than that, I don't know, but that's like the best I can figure out, and it's kind of sad. So
I think for my own, and I think our listeners' part, like, something I want to clarify, with all of this like weird fallout going on, none of it's affecting you negatively anymore, right? Or at all? Is there anything like impacting you?
I've not been involved in any way. Like
That's good.
I contact people. I have a lawyer who we go back and forth with over stuff. So other than the cost of that, there's really not too much that I've not been sued or anything like that. Yeah. Now I'm going to start selling super safeties pretty soon, and we might definitely get involved at that point. And I may have to get involved over this new patent, like this weird. So for those who don't know, this new patent thing is not related to Rare Breed directly. It's a separate thing. Twin Bros, the guy who got raided, we talked about earlier, he filed the patent. Originally, he filed a provisional patent and like said patent pending, like because he thought that would somehow that would like protect him from people. Thomas Allen Graves, another weird, actually kind of a cool guy, but very eccentric. He was for a while claiming that he owned all force reset technology. It turns out lots of patents predate him. Because he has a very general, well-written patent, but it's quite new and it's predated. But so he was kind of going after people verbally, and Twin Bros thought that filing a provisional patent would somehow protect him. And my assumption was like Twin Bros does not come across as a very intelligent guy. I mean, he nothing against him. Like I've interacted with him personally. Like
just factually speaking.
Yeah, factually speaking. My impression was just that that he thought that would somehow protect him, and it doesn't.
It read like a law school dropout.
As it turns out, he did not just file a provisional. He filed a full patent. I don't know what patent lawyer did this, but he got somebody. He filed a full patent and like actually got the patent office. I think it's still pending, but he got the patent office like to at least issue him a pending patent just recently for the super safety. And it's a lot of it is just a verbatim copy and paste from the documentation in my release. And like some of the renderings are, I did a comparison. They're my step file turned into a line drawing. Like it's just directly from the release. Yeah, it's loud. That's why I wasn't even upset in the least, because I'm like, this is hilarious. This is laughable. The problem is it might, like, the patent office is so retarded, and like there's new rules going through now to make it even more difficult to invalidate patents. So it actually might be kind of an expensive problem to fix. But it's still hilarious. It's worth it just for the laugh factor, because it's such a laughable copy of my release in a patent filed months after I publicly released it, that I don't know exactly what he's thinking. Like I talked to him about the patent. I discussed it with him, and he said that he went through with it because he thought it would help protect from Rare Breed. I said it probably won't. Just hold on to it. And then next thing we know, he's trying to sell it to Rare Breed or give it to Rare Breed or something. Like there's patent office documents released where he's signing the rights over to Rare Breed, and I have not been able to get in touch with him since then. So I have no idea what his plans are. And my only, like, I think it would be funny if he sold this worthless patent to Rare Breed for a lot of money. Like that would be actually kind of hilarious. I'm hoping that's what happened, because that's the funniest outcome.
Yes. A man after our own hearts. Funny.
Yeah. I'm almost thinking, wow, I kind of wish I had like somehow gotten it from him, and then I could have sold it for a lot of money, like help fund stuff. It's also kind of scammy, so I want to get involved. But what's confusing there is I'm not sure exactly what Rare Breed is thinking they're going to gain from buying or getting an obviously invalid patent. So that's something that should be interesting to see how it turns out. And if actions are needed to invalidate it, I mean, we'll take them.
I'm glad that you have a lawyer. I'm glad that you actually have legal counsel that can help.
Yeah. I mean, and it's something that is just a good idea, but it's like barely even needed because I'm not involved yet. So
yeah. Well, glad to hear you're not bogged down by any bullshit, because Lord knows. Yeah,
it's popped up more recently, and it is a little irritating. I mean, like it's more of like the people, like the commenters, the people telling you should have gotten a patent. And I'm like, no, like the system is highly damaged. Like I'm glad to highlight some of its issues.
Yeah.
So those parts are that those guys are a little irritating, but
something really pisses me off about like I'm trying to find the word here. I apologize, guys. I've been up for a while. I have not really slept these last couple of days, so my speech is coming out kind of funny. There's something really awful about how ungrateful people online are. I'm not saying people should get on their knees and worship Tim Hoffman as
Well, I mean, so it's funny you mentioned that. Like, so some people do. Like, I get like people like love me on the comments, but it seems like it's one or the other. Either people are super enthusiastic, like they just love the super safety, or like they're angry about some little point, like they're really mad and bitter. I'm like, dude, it's like one or the other. Like, how can we like get some like reasonable middle ground? I think that's just kind of the nature of the internet, concentrates extremes.
It is.
I think so too, but I just wish, and I know that this is me wishing for a pipe dream. It's like, you make this free fucking content. You go out of your way, and I have experienced this too. BR's
we would. I was gonna say we don't know anything about this.
Yeah. Oh God.
Hundreds of best intentions. You put it out into the world. You just like trying to put something cool out there, and then someone shits on you so aggressively and like doggedly, and you're like, dude, is like, is there nothing better to do?
Yeah, it's like it's free.
Dude, I can't even have a Twitter because of this. I don't really engage with a lot of social media because
that's
some
funny.
People can deal with it. Yeah,
that's why I'm not on Reddit or Facebook. I am on Facebook for balloon stuff. That's the only way to interact with certain balloon pilots. Like they're all like guys are only on Facebook. But like I do not do Facebook or Reddit for anything gun related because like they're just cesspools. On Twitter, I can handle it mostly because like the way the Twitter algorithm works, you mostly interact with like people you want to. Like you can train it pretty easily. So I'm mostly just like obnoxiously incredibly harsh on Twitter to people who are even slightly annoying.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah,
exactly. And like that's how you deal with Twitter. I make a lot of prison camp comments. What can I say? My future prison camps, things like that for dissidents. But that's how you have to deal with Twitter. It's very much that way. So
I have a Reddit that is anonymous that I don't post on. I've got it's entirely for special interest stuff. Like it was for GAFs and then GAFs is gone. So I literally have no reason to have a Reddit anymore. Facebook,
I don't know. I wouldn't even do that. Like the like, even if you want to get in like the airship groups on Reddit, they're just like full of harsh, mean people. And then you go look at the other things those people are commenting on. You're like, oh, now I see what you're interested in. Now I understand why you're this way. Like, why are you associated with airships? Like, get out. So I won't even have an anonymous account on Reddit. Like I'll possibly look for Windows tech advice on Reddit. I can Google search. That's about it.
Ask a nice Indian man.
It's like, what's your life like at home to be like this? And this kind of goes back into something I feel like I say every episode. Just be kind to people. It's not hard. It's literally easier to be nice to people than the alternative.
It's more fun.
Yeah.
There's some people for sure. You should be a outright asshole too. And
people who don't put their carts away.
Cart knocks, yes. Deal with them, for sure. I mean, I agree. I think I'm trying to think like generally I try to be like when I reply to stuff, I try to be very matter of fact, like helping. Like a lot of things are questions. I think where I got a little like myself got a little off the track. So maybe I can sympathize with those who do it on a regular basis. Is I did a video on YouTube on the ounce pistol. It's the little folding. In fact, I'm carrying.
Oh, those things. Those look fun.
No, it's incredibly fun. It's this little guy, and like it flips out, and like boom, it's like a tiny little.
Did you
like
have that in your butt pocket?
No, it's one of my side pockets, but you can keep it in either one. Yeah, it just like disappeared. It's actually a super cool gun. I do too. I was incredible. I got introduced to it by the Nopel, the guy who designed the Gatling gun, the 3-point Gatling gun. He was a super cool guy, like really very interesting, very cool guy. He had already learned about this, introduced me to it. That's why I learned about it. And and he was like very enthusiastic, and it rubbed off very quickly on me. Yeah. So I finally got one. I did a video, like a whole video on how it works, and then I did a short on it. For whatever reason, both of them went pretty viral. So I got like 5 million views on the short, like almost 500,000 on the video, right?
Yeah.
In quick order. So I got a lot of comments from people who weren't my viewers, and a ton. Like there was like 4 different things that people were saying that hundreds and hundreds of comments were saying basically the same thing. Like, oh, you can't do fast magazine changes because it has a really cool like ratcheting, got these little clips into that ratchet the rounds along. So you have to put them in individually. It's not designed to do quick changes. It's a pocket pistol. You don't carry spare ammo. So like there was that comment, and then there was the comment where like, oh, it's a cheap plastic gun, and there's people complaining about the $900 price tag because it is an expensive gun. But the guy like almost makes it by hand. Like he does his own injection moldings. Like it's very cool. That's a very cool guy who designed the gun too. Very much not a typical firearms industry guy as well.
Yeah, which I like. I'm finding those are some of my favorite people.
They are. Me too. Like he's someone who I would just genuinely like to spend time with. Like he's a really interesting guy. So these are the same comments I'm getting. So I kind of try to explain to people, and then like their responses were like angry. So I did become I stopped commenting a long time ago, but at some point I became very harsh, like in my replies. Like my replies were very harsh. I'd make like derogatory statements, nothing crude, generally like, like intelligence based or something with more references they might not get, but just because, I mean, it becomes fatiguing at some point. So I guess if you're online interacting with the right sort of people, it can definitely rub off. So you have to be careful about that because at some point you kind of become the monster yourself. So
very real. You just have to cater to like what your online presence and experience is. And I think Nathan and I have learned that over the years. And at this point, we just talk to the homies, and like if you find your way like to us, and we're like, hey dude, like you're cool, please stick around. Like grand. Aside from that, we just post our stuff. I post and ghost. I'm like,
that's a good
I talk
idea.
into a mic. If you like it, cool.
Dude,
if you don't, there's plenty of other people that do it.
That video
that's
with
probably
Charlie,
a good idea.
Yeah, I made the mistake of checking the YouTube comments, and holy shit, it was just a cesspool. I'm never doing that again.
I guess I kind of had that problem. I like going through comments, like responding to stuff. So I at some point I should probably. I mean, it'd be cool to not do any of the content stuff. Just have somebody else with social media. And more recently I've been doing that too. Just like not doing that much social media in general. So I think that would be cool. Just do something else. It'd be fun to get things a little more automated and just not have to interact with that whole side of the business. Don't have to work in purchasing, like don't have to work with social media, don't interact with any firearms guys, like
just do it. Like
exactly.
Develop, like hang out with your friends, that kind of thing. Like I couldn't. The older I get, I think my battery and tolerance for people has gone down so much. Man, I had a just like a gun guy hire me for some art a little bit ago, and I talked about this in the last episode. He sent me a message and was just like egotistical and like demanding, like you work for me kind of thing. And I just dropped the job, which is a nice thing about being self-employed. I'm just like, no, fuck you.
Yeah,
like I'm done.
Yeah,
never mind. Here's your money back. Fuck you.
Yeah, and like it's worth it for that. I think.
100%.
Like I just don't want to deal with people like that anymore. And I feel like I'm old enough and kind of in the financial position where I don't have to debase myself. So it's nice.
God bless.
Yeah. Until of course you gotta get that car. So.
Oh yeah.
There is a matter of you being a fucking pedestrian in America.
Yeah, it's not fantastic. I mean, we have another vehicle, but it's.
No, it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. The car doesn't even matter that much compared to the other benefits.
You can walk for another week.
I mean, it does matter a little, but I got it all back together, and I've complained about this to you. There's one fucking bolt left over. Where does it go?
What kind of Asian are you? Like, what the fuck?
Oh my god, not
find
a good
where the
one.
bolt goes.
Dude, I don't eat dogs. I'm bad at math. I can only kind of play piano, and I can't put together a car. So not the good kind.
You are a big disappointment, Nathan.
I'm a big disappointment to my family. Dude, you met my mom the other week. She's like full.
Yeah.
You
have never seen a more Chinese woman. But on that note, we did tell Tim that we'd get him out of here a number of minutes ago.
I was going to ask.
Don't worry. We'll find an end to the madness.
Yeah, if you guys had like a last question or something you wanted to close with, I'd be glad.
We're so
to
sorry.
Do
that.
We were having too
much airships, and we just
I just kept going on. We're having too much fun at the end here. We've kind of just gone back to just general talk rather than something boring.
This was a lot of fun, and I would like to do this again if you are willing to do a round 2, because holy shit, I enjoy this.
Yeah, we definitely need to get into some more technical aspects of
like
different subjects.
Yeah,
for sure. So generally, I told you before we started recording, there aren't any gotcha questions, but there is just one that we do on every single episode.
Oh yes.
And that is Nathan. Your one is so long-winded, but Tim, I have a good answer to it.
Okay.
Well, do you want to do yours first, and then we'll.
Okay, I'll be fast. Okay, just recommend us a piece of media. Just like a book, a musical, fucking movie, whatever. Just a piece of media that you like. You don't even have to have anything. It could be.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I recommend a book, but no one will. There's a great book actually about the history of early IBM computers. I'm reading, which is pretty interesting. But let's see. A film would be culturally appropriate. I think Duel would be a good piece of media. I highly recommend the film. It's one of very famous director. Steven Spielberg. His very first film. I think it's Steven. I don't think you've ever heard of it. I just look it up. Duel film. It's a fantastic. It's one of my favorite movies. It's really well done.
Like
fantastic.
DUEL?
Yeah, just like duel, like you're having a pistol duel.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I actually haven't heard of this.
My goodness, it's. I think you can get most of it on YouTube actually, because it's old enough, no one cares.
Yeah. Nice.
No, I'm a gay letterboxed cinephile, so I actually do want to see this. I feel kind of bad that I haven't.
So there's my answer.
Nathan has now made that a thing over the last.
I'm sorry.
I've been gone for like
I know
6
that I'm
episodes.
forcing it.
Anyway, whatever. It works.
Yeah.
So the other one that we get with everyone and have done the entirety of the show is Tim, can you give the audience some dad advice? So as if they are your children staring up into your eyes. It could be funny, serious, just some.
This is
whatever.
something I'm very challenged with actually. I really don't know. I mean,
could be.
I could make 3D printing references. Let's see. I could do a hot air ballooning thing. I'm trying to think of something appropriate.
The world is your oyster.
Yes, literally anything that you'd.
I'm so technical minded that I tend not to have any quick comebacks on philosophical subjects, almost at all. Let's see. Okay, yes. It doesn't have to be practical to be good.
Yes, I love it. Not everything has to be a fucking Glock. People who
not everything has to be practical.
When you were talking about your pocket carry, I was like, no, a Roland Special Glock 19.
No, that one is practical. Let's not get started on that one. Let's we don't want to revisit that mess. In general, it doesn't have to be practical. It doesn't have to be the cheapest, fastest thing to be actually a good thing. So there's more than just being cheap and fast.
That's
I like that a lot.
My utilitarian brain needs to hear that, and I'm sure lots of our audience does too.
Yeah, this is not all about utilitarian. It's a good thing to have a utilitarian side, but it should only be a side.
I've been headbutting that the last year or so, just trying to get rid of that. So no, fantastic
That's good
advice. Well, Tim, this has been a pleasure. I'm really glad we got to do this after meeting you out in the desert and finally get around to do an interview. But
almost a year later.
Yeah, it's gone by really quick.
Yeah, it has. And now it's like, do we go back to Vegas? But anyway, I won't get into that mess. We might see you out there. We're still... Nathan will definitely be there. I might be there, but we'll figure that out. You may or may not be there. We'll figure it out. But much love, Tim. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for all you do. We love to watch what Hoffman Tactical is up to and what you're up to on your off time. So
you're one of my favorite people on the internet right now.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me on.
No, of course. And guys, keep on spreading pro airship propaganda. We will make it happen in our lifetimes if we believe.
100%.
the airship powered by belief and love, also, and friendship.
Most importantly. All right. On that note, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week, and until next time.
Hey, bye.